Dr. Lloyd Tupper. And he will be speaking next Sunday, so make sure you mark your calendar for that. So how great is that? Yes. All right, everybody, so continuing with our wonderful theme this year of Your Joyous Life, helping everyone to up their joy level this year. The topic for September is about passion, doing and being what you love, and allowing yourself to be really excited about what you do and how you are. And if it's not excitement you're going for, to be content, to have whatever it is that's more joyful for you, and however you experience that passion in your life. If it's excitement, if it's joy, if it's contentment, if it's gratitude, that you find that. And that the expression in your life is a pathway for greater experience of joy and contentment, excitement, passion, and gratitude. So our altar today by Gailya is just so fabulous because it has a painting of Fred Astaire and is it Ginger Rogers, yes. So, I mean, they were passionate and exactly what I'm talking about, finding their path and living it. And then there's a kitty because, well, I guess a sub-theme of today is kitties. So there you have it. The theme for the month is your passion is your purpose. And so it's that igniting, whatever it is that passionate thing in our lives. And whatever it is, whatever turns us on is actually a signpost for what we should be doing in life. That's the meaning of the theme for this month. Your passion is your purpose. Because we don't just get excited to get our blood pressure up. We get excited. We get yearning to do and be in a particular way because that's the path of our soul's purpose. It's a balanced system. It makes sense that we are excited. God planted that in us, that excitement button, so that we move towards what we are supposed to be doing in life. So this is the month where you just give yourself permission to pursue your passion. And I love this. I could just keep saying this quote from Steve Jobs all month long, and that's all we would need to say, is that the only way to do great work is to love what you do. And that's what I want for each and every one of us. So in our book, this is the book that we're using all year long, and we have some more copies of it in the bookstore if you don't have yours. This is what the author says. To keep this month's resolution to pursue my passion, I first had to recognize my passion. Done. Her passion is books, but since that's not all of our passion, I'm not doing a whole big deal about books, but that's really what the author loves, is writing and language and thinking and words and sentences and that. My next step was to make time for it, to find ways to integrate my passion into my ordinary days, and to stop measuring myself against some irrelevant standard of efficiency. Whatever your passion might be, happiness research predicts that making time for a passion and treating it as a real priority instead of an extra to be fitted in at a free moment, which many people practically never have, will bring a tremendous happiness boost. So that's another message, is to make that a priority, whatever it might be. So, last week it was really interesting because Bodhi shared something really intimate about how following his passion of music has not always been easy. In fact, it's been agonizing at some times. And so I want to underscore that living our passion is not always lighthearted. I know that I come across as terminally cheerful most of the time, and that really is how I am. But I know that many of you, in pursuing your passion, go through dark nights of the soul and all of that. And there is a way of holding a dark night of the soul that it's really a part of your joy. Because if you are following your passion, even if you go through tough times, and I have been through tough times with my passions, that we still feel that we're on the right track. And there's a difference between suffering and knowing you're in the wrong place and being in agony and knowing that you're in the right place because of your soul's growth, because that's what is required for you to become the person you need to become in order to step into the passionate life that you want to step into. So there's room for all of it. And I remember that, I wasn't raised Catholic, but I know that whole thing of Jesus, in the Garden of Gethsemane, and then in the trial, and then in the scourging, and then in the cross thing, and dying and resurrecting, that's referred to as his passion. And I thought, what a weird word for that. But I think that speaks to the same thing, that it's hard sometimes to live our passion. And so this is a little advertisement. If you haven't seen the latest Pixar movie called Inside Out, it's not a children's movie. And the message is that joy and sadness walk hand in hand through life. And that your joy is deeper if you let your heart be sad when it needs to be sad. And that by avoiding the sadness, you avoid the joy. So the message is, feel it. Like, let your heart lead you where you want to go, just like the song said. So there you have it. If we do avoid sadness and we get into this sort of automatic living, we really need to train ourselves back to what we love and what we're passionate about, because even if it means going through sadness, because it wasn't modeled for us. And if your family was all about, kind of keeping the lid on, get last week's talk, because that's where I talk a lot about this. So if you want to pursue your passion, you have to answer the question that is the title of the talk. And the title of the talk today is, what would you love? So Mary found this wonderful picture of this hound in sequins. And what that says to me is that when you act on what you love, it doesn't matter if what you love is just a complete mystery to other people, because it was planted there by God in you. And this girl obviously wants to be in sequins. So this week, as always, God gives me information for my talk, and I had a couple of experiences where I was just mystified as to why other people were feeling joyful in doing what they were doing, but it was obvious that they were. So on the holiday, on Monday, I was taken to Virginia City by a friend, and Virginia City was celebrating Civil War days. So the story, very briefly, about Virginia City and the Civil War is that the silver in the mountains around Virginia City paid for the North's participation in the Civil War, and so Lincoln annexed Nevada way before any other state in the West was a state. So in the middle of Main Street of this little frontier town, they had a row of soldiers in gray and a row of soldiers in blue with muskets, and they were shooting at each other. Big, booming, shooting thing, guns, and then they would step towards each other again, and they would aim, and they would shoot again, and then they would step forward, and it was like, that's what war was back then, is lines of human beings stepping closer and closer to each other. Well, I was very judgmental of this. This is not what we need to be doing. This is not people shooting guns at each other. This is not it for this day and this age, and blah, 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 blah. And meanwhile, everybody was in costume and having a great time. And my friend who I was with said, as long as no one gets hurt, I just see people having fun. And I thought, well, how generous. But it was true. It was true. They were having fun. Well, another example was my prayer partner, who's an old hippie, went to Burning Man. Now, Burning Man, he comes back from Burning Man, and he is still in another state. He says he loves Burning Man so much. He says, you know, you're already friends with everybody there. They're strangers, but you have so much in common, or you wouldn't be in Burning Man. And I'm thinking, you know, yeah, that's why I'm not there. But he said, we all long for intimate conversations with strangers. You know, that's the truth. If you've ever, run into somebody that you've never met before, and you all of a sudden you are way deep, sharing way deep things, you have that experience of, oh, this is kin. I've never met them, but this is kin. So there you have it. There, you got a hound in sequins, and you got soldiers shooting at each other, and you got people in the dust for a week, and it's all fun. So we seem to have a continuum that we're on, and where contentment is at one end, and frustration is at the other end. And when you're in contentment, you're joyful, you're passionate, you're calm, maybe you're excited, maybe, but you are liking your life. You're doing what you want to be doing, and contentment over here is really a good thing. On the frustrated end, which I see a lot of us, and I'm there too, more than I want to be as a spiritual leader. We have lists to accomplish. That's pretty frustrating to just have a list, unless, that's your fun thing. But tasks that feel like work and circumstances that we avoid. We want to feel better. We want to get over here on the contented, but we're not there. We go to therapists. We come to church. We read self-help books. We maybe participate in an addiction, or we complain. We feel separate from our good. We get bored. We feel victimized. We blame others. And we really, really want to get to this contented place. And I have a way to do it. I do. And it's not... I want you to just kind of suspend disbelief and go with me, because this is what I want us to do. I want us to deeply ask, what would I love? Deeply ask, what would I love? Now, so what I'm asking you to do is, what if you just did this for a week? Just try it out. And what if there was no wrong way to do it? You don't have to be correctly a spiritual student. You don't have to, as long as you contemplate, this is the only rule. If you contemplate what you would love and not what you don't love, or what you want to have stop, not that thing, but what you really would love, moment by moment by moment. Now, you can go for the spiritual qualities if you want. You can go for the details if you want. You can even think about other people, what you would love for other people. There's no wrong way to do this. It's the only rule is to focus on what you would love. So I took notes on one of my mornings this week of doing this, because I've done it. So this is what when I wake up in the morning, I kind of get in I cross my legs and sit with the covers up over my head, so I'm like in a little ball, stretching my back, and I pray. And so this is what I did this week. So I would love to have a productive day at the office today. I would love to be comfortable in the temperature that is predicted. I would love to feel that my good is at hand. I would love to think about my children today. I would love to have flowers in the garden ready to cut to bring in, to make a nice bouquet for Lloyd. I would love to be in non-judgment. And finally, I would love to find a packaged set of cat food cans where my cats like every flavor. That's what came out. Some very lofty, some very mundane. And as I was doing this, I felt happier and happier. I then felt humorous. I felt funny. And guess what? I got everything I said I would love that day. I found a boxed set of cat food where they're going to like every single flavor in there. So, what you do to do this practice is, first of all, establish the habit of asking. So, that means, like, really try it all the time. When you're ordering at a restaurant, you can say, I would love the Caesar salad instead of, what would you like, Caesar salad? I would love the Caesar salad. When you're waking up, what would you love that day? When you're going to bed, what would you love the next day? What would you love during the night? When you're angry, now that's the real one, because, you know, anger is one of these loops. We kind of get in it and we don't stop before we have just run over our beloved. But if you can stop it first and say, okay, I'm angry, what would I love? Even if you say, I would love if that person would be sensible. If you can do it with love instead of with anger, you're in a whole new place. You can answer that question, what would I love, when you're listening to the news. You can answer that question when you're unhappy. You can answer that question when you're bored. And if you just get into the habit of asking, then there is a shift that happens. But you have to, here's the deal. You declare that with this moment, all things can be made new. Because I know you and I know me. We can answer that question and say, oh, I wish things would work out that way. I know they won't. I would love it if I won the lottery. But, you know, I'm not going to win the lottery. I would love it. And so you get that kind of complaining, victim-y thing, even though you're like doing the practice. It's not doing the practice. The practice is really stepping into that, what if this world is all about what I love? And in the moment, we actually can shift. So in the textbook, Ernest Holmes writes this: we are surrounded by an infinite possibility. It is goodness, life, law, and reason. It wishes to express through us. As it passes into our being, it automatically becomes the law of our lives. It can pass into expression through us only as we consciously allow it to do so. So when we allow it to do so, we actually say, this is my life. I'm loving this, and I would love this too. And so we maybe have to undo some habits that follow that up, because I'm just coming from what I know about me. And we can say, well, yes, but I know I would love that. Yes, but. Or there's another thing that we do sometimes, and we say, well, I'm really strong and I can endure this. What is up with that? What is up with that? You can do it. I mean, if enduring is part of your contentment spectrum, you might be joyful enduring. It really demands that you look deeply inside and know yourself. What is it that I feel joyful about? What is it that I would love? And some people love to solve problems, and so guess what? They make them over and over and over and over and over again. And that's fine if you love it. But I want you to become aware of what you love so that you can ask for more of it. So the way you do that is the next one, and that is you listen for the answer. This is how love speaks to us. When we wait, an answer comes. So I'll prove it to you. I'm going to be quiet, and now you ask yourself, what would I love? All right, so it's so sweet. So many of you have big smiles on your face. So I know that you're doing it. You ask, you listen, and an answer comes. It's completely sweet. So then what we do after we have asked the question, we've listened for the answer, then we feel into that world that is filled with love and joy and blessings. So this wonderful verse from Philippians is what this is all about. Whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue, and if there be any praise, think on these things. That's what this allows you to do in a very gentle and playful way. And when you do these last two together, when you listen for the answer and feel into that world, what happens is that your answers become deeper and deeper and deeper. And instead of saying, I would love a new car, or that cat food thing, I would love to have agreeable cat food for my cats, then deeper and deeper things happen. I would love that my children are content. I would love that my life is of use, because that is the nature of us. When we open to love and we become available to love working through us, love works through us and takes us deeper and deeper and deeper. And then what we get to do is this next one, which is to settle into peace, harmony, joy, and happy anticipation. And so you get that feeling of what I would love is at hand. My next blessing is very close. The next breath I take brings with it a whole new world of love and blessings. And so this is I love these practices that are fun and simple. And you don't get any funner and simpler than this one. And so there's a benefit to this. So this is the next set. There's benefits to this practice. And the first one is just, you're going to be happier. If you want more benefits than that, they're coming. But this is a practice that if you do it sincerely and you avoid those what ifs and oh yeah, if you really lean into, I would love a world in which everyone is peaceful today. I would love that. What happens is this next blessing, the benefit, we center on the operating principle of the universe. Our teaching says that the operating principle of the universe is love in expression. In the glossary at the end of the textbook, it says that love is the self-givingness of God. That's a little bit jargony, but what that means to me is that love is the source of everything. Love is the source of everything. So what we have in this realm is that we have stuff that comes in from nowhere. Really? Things arrive in our life from somewhere, and that somewhere is the formless realm of spirit, and then things arrive. Just like you order, your Caesar salad, and the Caesar salad arrives. You order things up in your life, and they arrive. And so what that shows me is that what we call the self-givingness of God is life itself supporting its creation. Life itself has to support its creation, or we wouldn't have any creation here. It has to support its creation. And so we use the word love. I think that word is very amorphous and overused, and it means something else to everybody. And when we attach it to God, it's like not nearly adequate enough. But what it means really is that the source of all this stuff supports us. Always, 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 always. And that is what we call the self-givingness of God. Nothing makes itself into something, and that something supports us. And that happens because of the absolute love of the universe for its creation. And when we harmonize with that, when we say, what would I love? When we infuse whatever we think that love is into our mind and body over and over again, we harmonize with the operating principle of the universe, and it all works better for us. Next is we are for something rather than resisting. The creative law that we teach in this wisdom tradition is that what we focus on, we get more of. And so resistance really is futile, because when we say, you know, I don't want to be lonely, I don't want to be poor, I don't want to be whatever you attach to that, then what happens is the creative law only hears lonely and poor. Because, and this is a great quote that I said, I wrote it down, and that's one of those, I put quotes around it because it's very good. Creation does not have a not, it just has an is. Creation doesn't have a not. You can't say, I don't want something, because creation only hears what it is that you have said, the subject. It doesn't have a no, it only has a yes. And so when we say what we love instead of what we don't love, then that magnifies what we love. I'll say it again on Facebook. If you are frustrated with the political system that you do not agree with, don't post what they're doing. Yeah, you know, I think, I look at them and they don't like this. They want other people to agree with them not to like it. Well, they agree with them not to like it, but there you've just blasted it out to the internet, this thing that you don't like, which gives it power. Just saying. Rather, from Star Trek, remember LeVar Burton, Geordi LaForge? Here's what he says. I truly believe that our thoughts influence what we experience in life. Do yourself a favor and spend at least one moment today thinking of our world as a safe, healthy, and wonderful place to be. The same lesson from Geordi LaForge. And finally, we expect ever deeper spiritual revelations. You came today, and I know a lot of you came to be with your people. You came for social reasons. But within you also is a desire for spiritual growth. Spiritual growth requires something from you. Spiritual growth requires that you do something. In this wisdom tradition, in Science of Mind and Spirit, what you do, what you must do, what I must do, is to clarify your thinking and purify your heart. That's it. You clarify your thinking and you purify your heart. And this practice is a way to do it. A simple, gentle way of setting intention in your day. Answer the question, what would I love? Jack Kornfield, in conclusion, who has his work just down the road, said this: we must look at ourselves over and over again to learn to love, to discover what has kept our hearts closed and what it means to allow our hearts to open. What if it's this simple? To just ask, what would I love? Then to listen and to follow your heart. Thank you. Thank you. And so, the going deeper today, for those of you who want an advanced assignment, that you come to this place where you say, I declare and demonstrate, I love my whole life. And so come with me into the inner work. And I'm going to ask you this question. Some of you, I just affirm that you can remember anything that's important to you. If you want to take notes during the inner work, you can, but otherwise just know that you're going to remember everything that's important. So, my beloveds, what would you love about your contribution to the world? And you can say anything. I would love if it were easier right now. I would love if I got the very big assignment right now. Whatever your heart says, what would you love about your work in the world and your contribution? What would you love about your family? What would you love? You can say, I would love that Uncle Jerry is happy. You can say, I would love if Julia found her true love. You can say, I would love if everyone just settled into love. There's no rules. Just what would you love? What would you love about your freedom in time and money? There's one. What would you love to have happen? How would you love to be? I would love to be so generous that anything that is asked of me that I can give, I give. There's one. But it doesn't matter. I would love to have the rent money for September. With that open-hearted, I accept, I accept, I accept. And what would you love about your health and how you live in your body? Let your body answer that. Oh, and then feel how it feels to harmonize with the operating principle of the universe, which is love. I think it feels pretty good. I hold that for every one of us. Blessed be.